You ready, little bae?
Mm-hmm.
You ready?
Take it away, big head.
Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I have the adorable Dan the man. Today we're gonna be doing our foster care update. So we've had a lot of requests from you guys to do this update. It was a little bit like, I don't know, wondering, do we have anything to update type situation between the last time and this time? Because in some ways I feel like not a whole lot has happened, but then I started taking notes on my phone and just really thinking about the first class that we went to, because we did take a foster class about 2 weeks ago. And I was like, actually, I think we have like some stuff to update you guys on. So today we're just kind of going to be...
Not a whole lot, but something.
Something to update. Yeah. So today we're going to be walking through all of the little like just bullet points that I kept on my phone. You know what? The only thing that's sticking out at the forefront of my mind, I'm just going to start with before we dive in. I want to address some of the comments that were on our last video entitled, "We don't know what we're doing, foster care." Here's what I have to say. First off, just like the title said, we don't know what we're doing. The whole point of this like documentation of foster care, adoption, all of that is really just to share and hopefully encourage other people to consider this as possibly an option in their life if it's something that they're supposed to do. But we're not experts.
Well,
and
it's weird, that statement, we don't know what we're doing. It's like, we're aware of what we're getting into, but we have this much experience. Yeah. We've never done foster care. We've never been a parent. Someone always has to do something for the first time. This is what we're going to do for the first time. So we're not speaking from experience. Yeah. And that's what we don't know what we're doing means. Not, we don't know what we're doing.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
There's a different meaning to behind what we are actually saying. And some of these comments are like, they're hilarious. Like how stupid people can be sometimes. Like, and it's obvious when you read something, it's like, oh, this person didn't even watch the video.
Well, I was going to say, when you said how stupid someone can be, I instantly cringed because I don't want to be calling any of you guys stupid. But what it really is some people leave comments and I feel like, did they even watch the video? Or maybe like they live reacted. Like I do that on Instagram stories. I did that to someone the other day. They were performing somewhere and I'm like, are you performing there? Well, if I had just like watched the next two stories, I would have had my question answered.
Well, but when someone's like, it's so stupid, I can't even remember exactly because it's...
No, I know. There's too much.
But
and we get DMs, tweets,
well, some
emails.
Examples are like, why even adopt? Like, why don't you just have your own kids? Or like, it's obvious you're doing this for selfish purposes. It's like, how can you ever even come to that conclusion? Like, this is the opposite of being selfish.
Well, that actually spurs me. I think people come to that conclusion a lot of times, first off, when social media is involved, because people feel like there's a taking advantage of, or like a, I can't think of the word, exploitation thing that might be happening. Which, before we circle back to my original point, I do want to touch on that now that you kind of brought that way.
If they thought that way, then what would having our own kids be different in that situation?
That's a good point too.
So
but going to that point is that a lot of people have actually commented at, hey, when you guys were looking at adopting from Thailand, you said that an issue was that you weren't allowed to put your kids on social media for a year. Here's the thing. Okay, this is kind of multi-layered. First off, our hearts have changed since that point. That was a good 6-7 months ago. But second off, the situation was also a little different back then because it was a separate government that was involved, and that kind of scared me a little bit.
Right, because we were thinking of some situations that could have been out of our control. If we go out in public and people are snapping pictures and posting them online and whatever, like, there's a foreign government that still has control over our situation.
Yeah.
How likely is that? probably very unlikely, but that's something that we just wanted to avoid, and that was totally our choice.
And that's where I feel like it comes down to our hearts changing, because looking back, our points were still valid, you know, like I understand why I felt that way, because here's the thing about being on the internet and just life in general. People make stuff up. Like I have literally stumbled across posts online where people are making entire falsifications. Like I saw Nikkiphillippi out at a club last night in Nashville, and she was sitting on this guy's lap, and I'm like, what the hell? Like it's so weird.
Who's this? I was with you last night right here.
So people make stuff up. So I think I understand why we felt nervous, because it was like, what if someone from this like other government just decides they don't like us and they read something that's made up or whatever? But like I said, it ultimately comes back to our hearts also changing, because now we've also really fully sat in and realized, like, who knows what's going to happen in life? You don't have any control. Something horrific like that could happen, but what are you going to do? Live your life in fear and not make any decisions and not try to do something that you feel called to do. So that's the first thing. Just to address that, we know that with foster care, you can't show the children online because they're not actually your children until and if they're ever adopted.
Yeah, and good, because I don't want any of you to see them so you can talk shit about the little kid that's in my house.
Oh my gosh. Well, and the thing is, each county has different rules. So some counties, there are places where like you can't, like some people you'll see it online, they'll show the kid, but maybe the kid will be turned away so you don't see their face, or they'll have like something over their face. So some places allow that. Some places don't even allow, like you can't even show a hand in the picture. So we don't really know what our county rules are, but obviously we're going to abide by whatever our county's rules are. Also, it's kind of in some ways, by doing this and them making the decision, it's a little stress relieving, because I have been pondering the question for literally my entire time on YouTube. What are we going to do when we're parents? Meaning, I'm not someone who adamantly thinks like parents shouldn't be putting their kids on the internet. Like, oh my gosh, their kids shouldn't be there. Because I also think people are just like born into situations. Some people are born to really, really famous parents. Some people are born to parents who live in a hut in a third world country and don't even have enough food to feed them. Like everybody's born in a different situation. So I'm not necessarily against that. But I'm not necessarily for that, because I've heard a lot of arguments and reasoning behind why that could be unhealthy. So having that be the situation that we can't share them kind of just takes that out of my hands and allows us to just live out life and see how we feel as we go and if and when we adopt. So, okay, here's the other thing. I'm getting real liberal with the block button. So I've decided that we want, you know, thoughts. We are open to advice and different perspectives, but there are different ways to word things. And if someone says something in a way that I deem snotty or offensive, I am blocking people left, right, and center now. I wouldn't let you in my living room to say that to my face. You are out of here. I am realizing I need to protect myself more, and I don't have to tolerate meanness.
This isn't a discouraging message to not write those things, because you can write whatever you want, because it's hilarious every single time we hit the ban button. It's funny. So
it's me hitting the ban button every single time I say it out loud. I'm like, and you're blocked. So you're out of here. But I want to create a certain energy and vibe on my channel. And in one of my videos recently, it wasn't a foster care video. It was the one about emotional breakdowns and points that you hit in life where you're overwhelmed with emotion. And someone commented on there something along the lines of like, oh, you think you could be a foster parent? Like, you're just going to go take your pills? Like, you have all this time to just think about nothing? Like, how about you go actually do something important in the world rather than pursue your selfish desire of fostering and adopting? And I was like, I literally don't understand the point of this message or the perspective of this message. I'm like, and I literally said out loud, and you're blocked. So
it's like, it's nonsense.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yes. And I know that because we're opening ourselves, we're being like vulnerable in this process and we want to be open through the whole process, that it's like kind of what you get, but also it's not. Like if people want to talk crap, they can go somewhere else and talk crap. If they want to be constructive and kind and give advice and input, go for it. Does it mean I'll take it? Not necessarily. It depends. You guys don't know every single at all in and out, you know, of what's going on in our life, but go ahead. But the meanness, like,
yeah,
that's what I'm done with.
Like if you can say something and then it's like actually funny, then you might not get blocked because it's funny. But if you say something stupid, you're probably going to get blocked.
Let's talk about what we've actually done. We have done one foster care class. Now, Dan and I actually start something called the PATH classes on Tuesday. So tomorrow, oh my gosh, we start tomorrow. And if you didn't already know, PATH stands for Parents as Tender Healers. And I believe it's going to be a 6 or 7 week course. We're actually going to be missing one of the classes next week, so we're rescheduling it because we're going to be going to California in 2 days.
It's CPR. Mm-hmm. So we can make that up.
Yeah.
I suppose we could go anywhere to get that certification.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good, I didn't realize that. So we'll be remaking that, like we'll make that up afterwards. But the first class that we took, I believe, is something that's required in like most states.
It's a prerequisite to the PATH training. So when you show up, you sign in on the sheet, each individual person. And if you didn't sign that sheet, even though you were there, you can't go to PATH.
Yeah. So it's required by the state because the state is essentially paying for your training, so they want to make sure that
and the food and refreshments that are there when you show up. So there are costs,
expenses
that the state
costs
is paying, and they want to make sure that, you know.
Yeah. So you show up to this first one, I think in most states, because they want to make sure they're not going to pay for all this PATH training, and then you're going to show up and be like, "What? I didn't realize that that's what foster care was." So the intro class is literally just a breakdown of what it looks like to be a foster parent, the kind of training you're going to have to do. They talk a lot about the fact, you know, that you're dealing with people with trauma, kids with trauma. They try to make it very clear and really hit the point home that no matter what age of a child you're going to have in your home, that they're going to be dealing with trauma, because even babies, if they haven't experienced trauma, just being separated from their mom is trauma. One interesting thing about the class, it was freaking packed.
And it's not ironic that it was the first class after that adoption movie had come out.
Yes. What was that movie called again? Instant Family. Yeah. Which, side note, I know a lot of you asked if we had seen it. I told you we had seen it. We loved it. If you're looking for another movie on foster care, we recently watched a movie that's much darker than Instant Family. Much more like, I don't know what you call it, real life, I guess. Called Short Term 12 with Brie Larson, who, fun random fact, Brie Larson actually grew up down the street from me and used to do plays with my cousin. So it's really weird to see her like she's the new Marvel person. It's so crazy. Yeah. Anyways, she's great, and she was in this movie Short Term 12. Like I said, it's pretty dark. It's probably rated R, but they did a great job, I thought, with that movie.
It was a good movie. Yeah.
Knowing nothing about foster care, I mean, I loved it. But yes, Instant Family, this is the first class that they've had at this place since the movie was released. Definitely thinking that that's a big part of it. But when we walked in, I was like, damn, it seems like there's so many people here.
Yeah.
And he's like, I guess, yeah.
They said by the end that if all of us show up to the first PATH training, that the room they usually do it in isn't big enough, and they'll have to figure out a way to get everyone in there. But it's not likely that every single person that showed up is going to go through the training, because there were...
Well, they told us when we got there they've never had a class that big. So we thought it was packed, and then they were like, we've never had a class this packed. And you were going to make the 50% comment, right? Because that's what Gina said. She's like,
50%?
She was like, I bet 50% of those people actually come through to PATH.
Yeah.
It'll be really interesting.
They'll show up, maybe they won't. But you can't expect that everyone's going to come back.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It was just
it's not normal.
So packed. I couldn't even believe it. As far as the actual class, we were saying that there wasn't really anything that we learned in this class that we didn't know, because at least at this facility, you know, this agency in our state, everything pretty much that we were presented was stuff that you can find out from research, because it was literally just like, this is what foster care is. Like, you can find so much information online. We did learn a couple, or I learned something specific. We learned something specific we didn't know, which is that someone in the class actually asked, like, she was like, oh, my dad is retired and he has this huge, really nice farm, and he's worried that, like, if we have a foster kid and they get hurt, like, are we going to be sued? And they told us, oh, no, each kid has, like, a couple $1 million worth of coverage on them so that this doesn't happen. So I thought that was interesting. I didn't know that.
Or, like, if they decide to clog your toilets and flood your house.
Yeah, that happens.
And it causes damage, like, there's insurance that will cover you.
Yeah.
So
that was interesting. We didn't know any of that.
Yeah.
They made us watch an interesting YouTube video at the beginning. I wish I knew what it was, because I would link it. But it was about this kid that came out of the foster care system, and the whole point that they were trying to hit home, like, this is how they opened the class,
that's really good,
was that this kid's life was changed by a foster parent who refused to give up on him. And this kid was just saying, like, if he had given up, I don't even know where I would be now, because he changed my whole life. So they really wanted to hit that point home in the beginning of the class. So they wanted us to hear that, like, straight from a former foster child's mouth. So that was pretty interesting. Oh, good news! Our home study, as of right now, it looks like it entirely crosses over, like, everything we've done.
Most of it.
Most of it.
Like, we won't have to go get new blood tests because we
just got them done,
yeah.
like,
I didn't
half a minute ago.
Hepatitis in the last few months.
Yeah,
so
we sent over
good.
all our financial statements, like, all of the stuff that they needed recorded and paperwork of, we sent to them, and it looks like they're going to take it all.
The only thing that doesn't cross over is, like, a home visit.
Yeah, like, we're still going to be doing 4 home visits with them, because they come over, they check the home, but then they're going to be interviewing us separately, just to make sure, like, the level of health, what they deem the level of health within our marriage is, and making sure there's no, like, abuse or anything like that going on.
I'm going to ask this question, but I want to know how often they go into a home study and have these interviews, and they look at the home and the living situation and this and that, and you got these people that want to be foster care parents. Foster parents. I wonder how often they
get to know you.
Yeah.
That'd be a good question. Oh, one other thing. I feel like I've been shouting out foster channels or different people when I film these videos, and I guess, like, the foster shout out of this video is a girl's Instagram that I follow, and I actually don't know her name. I know her Instagram handle, so I'm gonna link her down below. But she does a lot of writing about her experience in foster care. I'm dying. And she's so vulnerable, and I don't even think I've read any of her posts to you, and I think you'd love them, because she talks a lot about interactions with birth parents and court visits, and just, like, what life can look like and the struggles of being a foster parent. She is kind of actively involved in sharing her perspective and trying to shed light on things that are kind of messed up. So I will link her Instagram down below if you want to go check her out. Oh my God, she's too cute. It's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
Oh. So yeah. All right, guys. So I hope that the little, like, hater talk in the beginning, like, I don't even know what I hope. Part of me low-key hates even responding to that, and part of me is like, I feel like I have to respond to that, because the amount of people that were being just, like, rude and couldn't see or hear our hearts was just, like, annoying. And I heard someone recently say that, like, fake concern, like, I'm concerned for you, is just like this. It's actually kind of, like, manipulative and really rude. And I also got a lot of that.
You don't actually care.
Yeah, I got a lot of that too, and I didn't like it. And so, I just wanted to, I've never said this publicly, I just wanted to make you aware that I'm banning people like crazy who are rude. So don't be rude, and you won't get banned.
You saying any of this isn't going to change anything, except, like,
I'm just making it clear that I'm banning people.
Right, so you're banned for life.
Dude, we're clearly open to learning. People that are on a journey of learning and growing and clearly wanting to help and take care of people that need help. So it's not like we're like, we don't want any input from any of you. We're doing everything perfect.
Yeah, we learn every single day.
Every day, man. And I'm always
learning
looking back,
is so fun.
going like that.
Yeah.
But you learn and you move on. So just don't be rude about it.
If you've ever had a teacher that you've hated, it's because they're not teaching you in a fun way. And trying to teach someone like this by giving them such a negative opinion or whatever isn't a fun way to learn if you actually care about the person you want to teach them. So if you're doing that, you don't actually care about the person. It's more of a selfish thing.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
You're banned for life.
All right, guys. So that's it. We will be back here very soon because, like I said, let me know, but I think you guys want an update after every foster class, like to summarize what we've learned. And that's kind of my plan at this point, is to do one after every foster class. So actually, I don't even know why I said let me know. A lot of you already told me you wanted it, and I'm pretty sure I'm doing it. Oh, actually, just kidding. Last thing. Dan and I are finally going to sit down and film our videos just recapping the first 10 years of marriage, because we're about to pass 11 years of marriage, and we've been talking about this for so long that we want to get like our memories down in a video talking about it, because so much has happened and we don't want to forget, and we just haven't gotten to it.
We haven't made photo albums with blurbs and stories about moments, so yeah, we'll get them all down. But it's coming soon. I'm thinking that right when we get back from California is probably when we're going to do those videos. So yeah. All right. That's officially it. Bye.